Welcome back to part 2 of a 6-part series where we journey with you, sharing our knowledge, tools, and strategies in the hopes of being able to serve you through this pandemic. If you haven't seen week 1's video already, make sure you click on the link provided on the screen and check that out first. In this video, we're going to cover what it means to nourish our mind, body, and soul. And remember that you won't have access to everything in this video unless you register for the extended video. So use the link in the description box below to register. Last week we covered a fair bit on stress, and in the extended video we talked about stress management as well as emotional regulation. And you might have wondered why a Christian ministry is putting this much emphasis on this. We simply cannot thrive when we're in a place of fear. All we're doing is scraping through day by day, and that level of tension just isn't sustainable by our mind, body, and soul. Instead, I want us to be able to work in harmony, where all of our being is working as one, as we were designed to be. So let's pull this thing apart. Grab yourself a notebook or a document on your computer or your phone and start jotting down things that you're noticing about your mind, your body, and soul. If nothing else, in a few years' time, you'll be able to read back on this and see what it was like to actually live during this time period. Firstly, our body. Let's go back to basics. Maintain a healthy diet. I acknowledge that during this time, eating very healthy and very well can be difficult. However, try to be conscious about what you're actually putting into your body. Shop local and of course meal prep. It's a great time to actually make things and freeze them so that they last. This is also really useful if you're finding that all of this time of being at home isn't actually giving you a lot of spare time at home. Exercise. Now I know that our gyms are closed and I know we can't go to the parks to work out. But there are still other things we can be doing, so be creative. There are plenty of suggestions and ideas, YouTube videos and so on out there. Have a look and see what other people are doing to keep themselves moving whilst at home. Go for a walk around the block or go for a walk around the perimeter of your property. Get some fresh air though. Our bodies don't do well when we stay stationary for too long. Set yourself a reminder, especially if you're working from home. Every hour, let your phone go off so that you're reminded to get up and move. Don't just sit there. Keep your fluids up. This is not a time to get stingy on how much water intake we have. Just put some flavouring into the drink if you need, some lemon or some ginger. They're both packed with vitamin C, and that's helpful for our immunity. But keep those fluids up. Now is not the time for us to be ending up in hospital for something that we could have prevented. If you're blessed with a bit of sunshine during your day, make sure you step outside and soak up that sunshine. The vitamin D is so good for you. It's not just a wives' tale, it actually increases the energy level in your body. And now that we're spending more time indoors and there are other things impacting our lives, we could use with as much natural vitamin D as we can possibly get. Not to mention, vitamin D also helps with sleep patterns. For those of us working from home, now is not the time to be skimping out on ergonomics. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. And every hour that we spend in front of a computer or a laptop in a terrible workstation is an hour of damage that we've done to our body. At the end of the day, put that stuff away. Or set your office up in a space where you can actually lock the door and walk away. Out of sight, out of mind. Your brain needs a space to be able to recharge, and your work deserves the best of you. Also, don't forget to stretch. For those of you who registered for the extended video, I'll show you some of the things that I use just from sitting in my work chair. And of course, we have sleep. If you find that during this time you're needing a bit more sleep than usual, that is actually completely normal. We talked about that underlying stress in the last week, and that stress is there. It's ongoing. With every new newsfeed that we see, every restriction that we hear, we know that that is there, that things have changed. And although you may feel fine, our thoughts are still processing faster than what it was before the pandemic, and our bodies are still recharging. So give yourself a little bit of extra sleep if you need. But also, set yourself an alarm. Don't be someone who sits and lays in bed for a majority of the day, certainly well beyond what you normally would. Set yourself some tasks, some goals that you want to achieve on a regular basis. And if you're needing motivation, give yourself something fun to do first thing in the morning, something that actually motivates you to get out of bed. But also set yourself a limit with that too. You don't want to get too carried away. The second thing is our mind. Check in your thoughts and your emotional responses. Let's not judge our emotions, just acknowledge them. So if we've had a particularly rough day, just say, I've had a bad day and I feel exhausted. I feel tired. Whatever the emotional response is, just say it for what it is. So instead of judging them, dismissing them, or criticizing whatever it is that you feel, just say it for what it is. Then ask yourself, is there something I can do to help that feeling, to alleviate that feeling right now? As for our thoughts, keep tabs on them, capture them and name them. Unchecked thoughts can often lead to something else. Negative thought patterns over time can ingrain themselves and create something that isn't necessarily helpful. Some of them we at Virtue Ministry call lies, and in the extended video I'll show you something that I use to try and capture those thoughts. A useful question to also ask is, am I reacting or am I responding? Especially now that we're all in an enclosed space, relationship tensions can build up and frustrations and irritations can come to the surface pretty quickly. So when your spouse, your sibling, your parents, your housemates, whoever it is, irritates you, give yourself a moment to ask, what am I feeling right now? What do I want to do right now? Should I act that way? And if you're not sure, ask yourself, is that a good way to respond? Or am I simply allowing my emotions to react? Because the reality is when we respond, instead of allowing our emotions to react, we have better control. If you really struggle to control your emotions, use those self-soothing emotional regulation tools that we covered in the extended video last week. But also, don't be afraid to ask yourself, am I grieving right now? And if you are, I encourage you to tell someone. The third thing is our soul. And I want to go into loneliness and solitude. Now, loneliness is a sadness that comes with a lack of company or less frequent company. It's that sense of isolation and disconnect, and it's very much feelings-based. Whereas solitude is a state of being alone and content, and doesn't necessarily come with a feeling of loneliness. But there are a few problems that stop us or hinder us from getting there. It might be the fear of boredom, to always be doing something, or the fear of failure, that we won't achieve our hopes and our dreams, that sense of guilt and shame, or to drown out our discomforts with distractions like excess social media or binging of any kind, almost numbing ourselves just to wait this virus out. Solitude affords us the opportunity to see our world, to see our environment for what it really is, without all the layers of distractions, to see the beauty in our world, the goodness in people, and to see that they possess the reflection of their maker, that we possess the reflection of our maker. So how do we work towards solitude? Well, there are plenty of ways. One of them is meditation. For some, meditation will bring up images of things like Rafiki sitting cross-legged on a rock, or some sort of humming sounds. But that's not what I'm talking about here. Christian examples that we can look to, like Ignatius of Loyola, who has structured exercises that you can work through, or Francis de Sales, who's had so many people write about his spiritual works. I would highly recommend Lift Up Your Heart by Father John Burns, a 10-day personal retreat that you can do. Or Teresa of Avila, who talks about recollection, and that is to collect our senses and our intellect, so our body and our mind, to focus on one thing. And for us Christian, that one thing is God, our relationship with Him, being in union with Him. Some practical tools: use your senses. Some of you will prefer to meditate with reading scripture. Others will want to be a part of the beauty of creation. Others again would prefer to listen to something or to recite things repetitiously, or to use your imagination. Imagine a scene, or to imagine your relationship with God. And others again will prefer to write or to create something. Whatever way it is, use that as one of your tools in meditation. And when you have been meditating, don't just acknowledge what lesson or what fruit you got from it, but also the experience of being there. So again, it's about acknowledging those thoughts and emotions too. But also don't expect there to be a fruit. There won't always be a consolation from the meditation. Our point of entering in and being in intentional relationship with God is not so that He can give us something. And last of all, I want to leave you with a question. How has your relationship with Jesus been impacted during this climate? Where was I before the pandemic? And where am I now? Where have I taken a hit? Our prayer life is not just a list of prayers that we recite or a list of things that we do. It's a personal relationship with God. So if you're one of those people who can say to me, my entire life is a prayer to God, then oh my goodness, I want to meet you. But if not, if you're like me, who is still working on that, then I encourage you to meditate on who am I and ask yourself, where is my relationship with Jesus Christ? Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like access to the extended video, make sure you register using the link in the description box below. If you've got comments or questions, pop them in the comment section below as well, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. Know about ongoing love and prayers for you all.